the outline of today's session will be that we will have two presentations by Pooja and Dr. Anup. Is that okay? Quick presentation, 15 minutes timeline, and I hope you know the protocol we have discussed at length. And after that, we'll have discussion and presentation on a very interesting and very important topic, and that is breaking bad news. I think that is what everybody, wants to know. How do we really go about doing this? Because that's one of the, bottleneck of healthcare, where most of the problems lie. And then we'll have another two presentations by Dr. Pai and Dr. Anuradha. So out of Pooja and Dr. Anup, who is ready to do the beginning of this session? Okay.
I'll do it, ma'am.
Okay, anybody, both of you. Okay, let Pooja do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pooja, do you want me to share the screen?
First, ma'am, I'll just say something.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So before we are going to do an activity, and before that activity, I just would like to request you to put your video camera on off mode and on mute mode also. And please listen to me carefully and please try to follow the instruction which I am giving.
Sure.
So please switch off the video camera for the activity. Okay. So am I audible?
Yes, Pooja.
Okay. Voice is clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, ma'am. Sharmi ma'am, please put your video camera on switch off mode. Okay. So we are just going to have an activity, and please all of you sit straight and hold your shoulders upright. We'll all sit straight in active mode. Now all of you, please close your eyes and take a deep breath. So we'll do it like breathe, release, breathe, release, breathe, release. So you are totally free. Just imagine you got a long vacation from your office today. You handed over all your tasks to your colleagues and you are driving the car, going home happily to your house. You reach the home and your family is very happy to see you. And you all decided to go for a vacation in hilly areas to have a lots of fun. Away from all worries, tension, stress, workload. You all started packing your clothes, tracksuits, your favorite snacks, your favorite collection of songs. And now you are ready to go for the trip. You have started for the trip. Your family have seated in the car with you. You are going to the hill station in between the mountains. The lovely mountain you are able to see from your car. You are enjoying the moment. You just stopped the car. Yes, you have reached. And you are walking a pathway toward the mountain. Just see, it's a wishing mountain. And you have climbed on the top of the mountain. You reach the top of the mountain And the moment you wished for the gift you wanted for so long, that mountain has given you the same in just a moment. And in return, that wishing mountain is asking you to throw something down which you never wanted to have. So you just thought of all those things which you just wanted to throw. You collected all those, and now you are tying that bad and bulky thing. And now you drop that heavy pouch from the top of the mountain. You are relaxed and really happy to do this. Take a deep breath and slowly open your eyes. Thank you so much. So now we can put our video camera on switch on mode.
Thank you for taking us to the mountain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I just would like to ask you all, how did you feel? We'll start with Anuradha ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja. It was relaxing and I traveled along with your voice. And I felt the happiness and joy when you were joyous. And I felt the lightening up when I threw away all the baggage that I don't want to carry anymore with me. So the journey happened along with you. And right now I'm feeling very calm, I can say, like very calm and very receptive mode. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anup sir,
Yeah, Pooja, I think
how did
that
you
was
feel?
very wonderful. I think actually the tone of your voice and it was so soothing, and that you are given that important the pitch has been going up and down. It was really fantastic. I think you are a very good meditator. You can be a very good trainer. With I think it was really wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Saifuddin.
I think he joined late, so maybe he's not,
Okay.
he hasn't done the activity.
Okay. Dr.
So
Leah.
I feel light, and after I am still at my workplace, but I feel calm and relaxed. Thank you for that.
Okay. Sharmi ma'am.
Sharmi, please unmute your device. You're on mute mode.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hello, ma'am.
After listening you, I think I have to plan vacation soon.
Yeah, right, ma'am. Okay, Dr. Bala. Any feedback?
Yeah.
How did you feel, sir?
I'm feeling relaxed, and as Madam said, it's a virtual mountain trip. You can go over there and so you have narrated the story very well, and you can imagine. You can able to imagine the sceneries when you are talking about the each and every activities. So thank you for making us relaxed after 7 o'clock in the evening.
Indu ma'am.
I think it was very pleasant because I mean, you could take us there, and also the idea that there's a wishing mountain where you can ask for what you want, and then also leave what you don't want to carry with you. I think that's a very good idea. So a very good way of imagining something that you want to do, and there you are. Thank you for a wonderful journey.
Thank you so much. So the activity which we did, it was regarding the visualization, imagining something in absence of stimulus. So we don't have the stimulus, but we are imagining to just burst out our stress, anxiety, and to make us calm and relax. So I would like to take you to my presentation on creative visualization. That is the topic and my pedagogy, which was assigned to me. Okay, ma'am. Shall I? I'm not able to do the share screen.
Okay, 1 second.
It's showing host disabled participant.
No. I
screen.
just enable you. Yeah, I've enabled you now.
Okay, ma'am. Is it visible?
Yes, it's going to be.
So the man who is standing, it was just like our scenario. Just few seconds ago, we were thinking about the mountain and hill station. So the definition of creative visualization is it's any technique for creating the images, diagrams, or animations in our mind to communicate a message and to see something in absence of visual stimulus, like we did in our activity. So where it can be applied to recollect the past. So in various psychotherapies, we are using this to relieve stress, to make us calm. So these are the applications. The advantages of this is it aids in understanding, it helps in understanding about the particular procedure, about the particular activity. It adds flavor to the program. So rather to make the program monotonous, the activity of this creative visualization, it makes it really interesting. The combination of words and images has a powerful impact on the communication of ideas. And it supports oral communication. Yes, disadvantages are there. It's first is a design issue. So if we are not able to prepare the scenario or script properly, the person can easily get distracted. People can act as a distraction, like you people are so good, you were following my instructions. But sometime in a large audience, it becomes difficult because people have some preconceived ideas in their mind, or they are preoccupied with something. So it gets difficult to follow the instructions. So it can be a part of distraction that time. So do's are, the clear instruction should be made for the activity, and we should choose the simple and right design so that the people can understand. The language should be like that. The language should be clear so that it's understandable for everyone. The pace of speaking, it matters. So how we are speaking in the script, it actually has an impact how people they are taking the things. The voice should be calming and soothing. It should not be threatening. And don'ts are, we should avoid complicated imagination. Confusing vocabulary should be avoided. And unpleasant and complex words should be avoided. There should be minimal interruptions. That's why I just requested you to put on your video camera and speaker on off mode so that there should be no interruption and there will be continuous communication without any barrier. Thank you so much.
So Pooja, if you could stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm just trying it.
Okay.
I did it, ma'am.
No, but we are still not able to. Yeah, now we could do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Pooja, for introduction to a wonderful activity, which is very, very useful. Very, very useful. So what do others say? Have you ever used this strategy earlier in any of the programs? Anyone? No? Have you used this strategy earlier anytime?
Ma'am, with children, we use it many times when we do storytelling to them. Close your eyes and visualize and go off to
Very
sleep,
good.
like that.
And they're very quick to go in that, transition into that zone, because they are not really, embedded in the present. They are ready to fly in any zone. Thank you. Anybody else who has ever tried this? So creative visualization is a wonderful tool which can be used at number of places. So very often I use this when I want to talk about stress management. So when we want to teach people how do you go about, de-stressing yourself in the moment, this is one of the tools I normally ask them, that sit at one place quietly and transpose yourself to that place, and then get disconnected with the present place. And it's a wonderful tool to immediately bring down your reactions to the situation that you're facing right now. Another important use of creating visualization is, I don't know how many of you have done any program in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So in neuro-linguistic programming, this tool is extensively used, because the whole idea about neuro-linguistic programming is to prepare yourself to meet your objectives or your desires in future. So the concept of neuro-linguistic programming is that everything happens twice, once in your mind and then in reality. So whatever you want to achieve, if you can imagine it to the finest details, it can happen for you. And if I may share my experience here, I did a trainer's program and I'm a master trainer in NLP. And in the training, they said that, okay, whatever you want to achieve in life, if you just keep that in your mind and then we'll take you, it's a time journey. It's called a time journey. So I just thought of writing a book in that time journey. And that my trainer took me in that time journey and made me actually note down or actually spell out the time when I will be ready with my book. And then he took me backward. He made me think, okay, imagine your book is ready. So what will you be doing in case if this book is ready, maybe 1 year down the line? So in next 6 weeks, what will you be doing? In next 6 weeks, what will be doing? So he made me actually spell out clearly the days that I will need to do a particular task. And then I had a very clear action plan. The moment your mind will have a clear action plan, it becomes very easy to implement it. So whatever you want to do, more clearly you are able to imagine, more clear instructions you are giving to your mind, and your body and mind starts working towards it. And it's a very extensively used tool in neuro-linguistic programming. Another thing is people who are struggling with past, with some trauma. In psychotherapy, we use this very extensively. We take the person to the same situation and then make them look at the situation as the third person, as somebody who's just viewing like a picture. So we take the person to the past and make them see the past as though they are watching a movie. So the emotions are not kind of triggered when you're watching somebody else's movie. And then we ask that, okay, if this is past, how do you want to get rid of it? And then we give them certain tools. You can write on a piece of paper, tear it, or maybe burn it, or maybe throw it in water. I mean, different techniques we use. And that helps in reducing the trigger power of that incident. So in psychotherapy, we use this as one of the tools. And it's a wonderful tool you can think of using, even to create empathy. I have done with a lot of senior consultants. I would make them imagine a patient under their care, and then I would say that imagine this patient is a relative of yours, and you are an attendant to this patient. Now you see yourself across the hospital, how a patient's attendant would go around and struggle meeting the lab people, pharmacy, radiology, billing section, front desk staff, consultant's door, and then now feel how are you feeling? And I've seen people crying after that activity. So it's a very, very powerful tool. Thank you, Pooja. I think you did a wonderful job by introducing this to the group. And I would ask all of you to try your hands at it. Do not use any traumatic experience unless you're really good at handling it. I think that's the only word of caution I can say, because that can be very challenging. People can actually become resentful. But otherwise, it's a very powerful tool. And I would really recommend all of you to try your hands at visual imagery. It's a wonderful tool. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions about this as a pedagogy?
How can you utilize this pedagogy in communication with patients, madam? Is it,
Yeah. So as I said, in communication, empathy, when you want people to experience empathy, you can create a script around that. You ask the audience to close their eyes and now think of one patient that they're attending. So they will be immediately able to recollect, okay, I have this patient on bed number 6 or 7 or so and so. Now you say, imagine this patient is your relative and you are an attendant to this patient. And then you the script that I shared just now with you, something like this, if you talk about, so they will be able to then a lot of time in communication you have to talk about de-stressing yourself, because you will see a lot of people stressed out. Even in this session they will appear to be very stressed out. So this can be even used as an energizer or as a in between activity, and
Okay.
you can make them relax and calm down.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question about this activity? Dr. Saifuddin, are you there? Captain Sandhya?
Yes, Dr. Indu.
I
Ma'am,
think you're
I'm there. You're there.
Are you
But
traveling?
the only thing I have mic off because there was a lot of noise of the traffic along with me. So
No
that's
problem.
the reason I put the mic off.
That's all right. So any question about this activity or anything that you wish to say or comment?
Ma'am, no right now, because I'll be honest, I have not been able to pace with it completely. In between, maybe because of network, I have lost almost 3 to 5 minutes while Pooja was talking now.
That's okay.
So,
That's perfectly all right. No problem.
right.
So are you going to be in your at home in a while?
No, ma'am, another 20 to 25 minutes, ma'am.
It's okay. It's okay. So we are going to discuss a very important topic. It will be really good if you can join once you reach home with your proper camera.
I'll stay connected. I'll stay connected, ma'am. I'll
Sure.
stay connected to the complete program.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So if we have no more questions about it, can I request Dr. Anup to make his presentation?
Yeah, good evening all.
Good evening.
I think before we start today's topic, I would like to have a small activities around. So have you heard the word origami? So can someone, yeah,
Yes,
can someone explain what is origami?
Okay, origami is a type of craft work of paper. When we actually discover and innovate into various interesting figures, we make a bird, we make a pen stand, we make anything. Like but it is actually a complex craft work of paper. Maybe that's what actually I have seen and learned.
Yeah, okay. So like how Captain Sandhya has told, it is origami is actually a craft work. It was by the Japanese, this thing, they used to have this craft work in schools. I think even now in our daily schools, because I have not learned, but my kids are doing this. I think they have a practice this thing in the school. So today's topic or today's activity is based on origami. So my this thing is that you are all going to create a origami for me. So it will be a mystery origami. So I will give you a set of instructions and again a set of rules which you have to follow. So are you all ready? I think if I think Dr. Captain Sandhya cannot be, the other two, Dr. Bala and Dr. and Shamishta, whether if you can be online, like can you turn on your videos if possible? Okay, I think. Can we start then?
Sure.
Okay, let us. So my first set of rules is that you are not supposed to ask any questions in between. I will be giving you instructions. You are supposed to follow my instructions. No questions. You can mute yourself. And other thing is that you are not supposed to copy. I know it's difficult to copy online, but still don't try to peep into other screens.
Okay.
So let us start. So I want now, since all of you, except Captain Sandhya, all of you are sitting in your room, I want to you all to imagine that you are taken a piece of paper in front of you. Have you done that?
So we don't have to have a paper.
You have an imaginary paper in front of you.
Oh,
You don't take a paper. Think that there is a paper in front of you. So now take the paper in your hand, and the right corner, you have to fold it down to the bottom of the page. Dr. Indu, someone will copy you. Okay. Now fold the left corner down to the bottom of the page. Now fold the left side in 1/3 of its way. That's the left side. Now again fold the right side to 1/3 of its way. Now fold the bottom of the paper into an inch up. Okay, and now you can unfold that, and now you keep it on the table. Okay, now I think you can put it in the chat box, like what is the image that you have got. Can all of you type it? Your imaginary image, again I am not telling. Okay. 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 Anyone else? One, two. All made with. Okay. Dr. Indo, anything?
I could not even imagine the.
Okay.
I'm so happy everybody.
Okay, I'll do one thing. What we'll do is like we'll recreate the same thing. Now I want you to, the rules remains the same. Now, can anyone take a paper do you have a paper with you?
Yes, we'll all take a paper.
Yeah, okay. Now this time I want you to take a paper. Okay, so
Give us 1 minute to pick up. Yeah,
Yeah.
give us 1 minute.
Dr. Anup, a square paper or a rectangular paper? What kind of paper?
as I told, no questions asked. You're just supposed to follow my instruction. I'm very strict. No questions asked. Okay. So now with the paper, first is fold the top right corner to down to the bottom of the page. Done? Yeah. Now fold the top left corner down to the bottom of the page. Is that done? Okay. Fold the left side in about 1/3 of the way. Done? Okay. Now fold the right side to the 1/3 of its way. Is that done? Okay. Now fold the bottom up to an inch. So now unfold that bottom part so that it can stand. Okay. So can you all show me the figure
Aeroplane.
in your hand?
It's an
Okay.
aeroplane.
Captain Sandhya is still guessing. She's still with the imaginary this thing.
No, it's the paper with me. I made it.
Okay, fine. Okay. So I see that, this is what I got. And this is what I think I have given you all the same set of instructions. Okay, now like everyone has got different thing. I think you can take one more paper, keep that aside. Now I want you to take a A4 size paper. Is it available, or a rectangle sheet of paper? And all of you have got? Pooja? Dr. Laya, you have got a paper? Yeah, fine. Okay. So I am going to give you instruction, but this time I'll accept Dr. Anuradha's question. So you can ask me questions in between if you have not this thing. So okay, fine. So now the paper, I want you to fold the right corner down to the bottom. Yeah. So you get something like this. Yeah. Now do the same thing for the left side. Yeah. Okay. Now the left side into about 1/3. You have to fold it in. Yeah. Okay. And now to the right side also you can fold it in. Now the bottom, you are supposed to fold it inwards to 1 inch, like this. And just unfold that so that it stands. So can you show me your figures now? And how different it is from your earlier figure, the one we had in the second play? Yeah, okay. So in all the 3 sets, 3 rounds, I have given you all the same instructions. So what do you think has made the difference? Can anyone tell me why like you have got different figures? See, 3 rounds, all my instructions were same. So what has changed? Yeah, Dr. Anu. Yeah.
The very important instruction, the original size of the paper was not mentioned. That was the reason we got different shapes. And maybe the instruction, the way we took it, folding inwards or upwards, we made a mistake while listening to that.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? Dr. Bala?
Miss,
Yeah, first we have imagined a picture, we don't know what shape it was. Second time when you are doing it, we are doing in our own way. And the third time you are given from, you are followed you. So we are all followed you, and what exactly you have done, we have did it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what has happened here is like this thing, like I was not allowing you to ask questions, and my statement was broad. I just told in my second this thing, take a piece of paper. So like what Dr. Anudar told, I have not told you the size. I have not given you any instruction. So my instruction was vague. See, that is what when we do as leaders, when we sit in our office, we tell someone saying that you do this, you do, and they come out with a different product or different outcome. Then we get angry, we shout at them. So who is at fault actually? Actually, it is not them. It is we are at fault because our instructions are not clear. Correct. So see here, what has happened is like if you have give a clear instructions, if you have a clear communications, as we have seen in the third round, when the instructions are clear, when you have shown them the how to do it, like all the outcome was similar. Same way with the intent. See, like what I intended was not what you did, and so the outcome was totally different. So this type of activity, see again, the empathy or whatever that we are trying to show, like what I told, so instead of getting angry, if we are able to sit and tell them, give them a clear instruction saying that this is how it has to be, so it is going to be much more better. Correct. So I think, ma'am, can you allow me to screen share? I think we'll go to topic today.
You can. I've already enabled.
So before going into the today's discussion, so I'll just start with a phrase, a quote from a US official. I know that you believe you understood what you think I said, but I'm not sure you realize that what you heard is not what I meant. So to clarify this, we have activities that can be created around a topic, a point of discussion. So that is my topic today. It is like creating an activity around a topic. So this is based on the principle that when more area of a brain are involved in an experience, the more memorable it becomes. So when you have an act or do something which you can relate to the subject, so that stays in the memory. So what are the common topics? See, when you want to have you are going to give a topic or you're going to give a lecture on clear communications, how are the clear perceptions, or you want to have a team building or any topic of your discussion, you can always have an activities created around that. So some of the most common activities are here, like mock calls, no allowed no. So no allowed no is something like where like you have an interaction, like you play a role play, like the one of our earlier sessions where we had the patient and the receptionist. Here the receptionist, when they play the role of a patient and a receptionist, and the receptionist should not say no. Like when the patient asks, like, can I get a discount? The receptionist cannot say no. But she has to, at the same time, should not give a discount. So she has to rephrase the sentence in such a way that no does not come in the sentence. So that are some of the activities that can be created. Again, listen and drawing, which we had in the earlier, like where Dr. Indu has shown us, and communication origami, that is what we had done now. The Chinese whisper, which again we had done. Then there's something called the old lady, the young lady. This is about where you want to change where people have a type of perception about something, where you show them a figure and you tell them to describe the figure. So what are the advantages of having such creative activities? So one is that it will engage the audience. It will have a development of long-term knowledge retention, like they will always start relating to these activities. Increase the impact of message, so your message is more clear and bold. It creates some sort of curiosity in you. Then it is a real time of their deficiencies. See now how we have shown that in the rounds 1, 2, 3. See what are the deficiencies that had come. So it will clearly show you the deficiencies, help to understand the topic fully, and diverse instruction type. That is like you can create any topic for depending upon your audience, the class of audience that you're going to keep. If it is the nurses, the doctors, or the elderly group, or anyone, you can create an activities which is suited for that particular time. And again, it improves the teamwork and interpersonal skills. Again, it comes with some disadvantages, like it is time consuming. There's a various degree of relevancy and applicability, not possible for large groups. And sometimes it is very hard to come back to track once the activity is complete, because if it is with a smaller group or something, for smaller kids, what happens is they still start talking to other, what is that you got, what is that you got. So how do you plan an activity like this? This thing is that first of all, you should know your audience, like who your audience are, to whom you're going to take a class. You have to prepare it, create an activity that is simple and engaging, determine the purpose of the activity and the message that you're going to convey, and should not be too long and complex. Then other thing is practice. I think that's all today's presentation. Thank you, ma'am. And this is the last quote I have. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. These are the things which I got while Googling for this topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the effort. So if you may please stop sharing the screen.
Yes, yeah.
I think wonderful activity, Dr. Anup. You really engaged us all and we got really interested into how do we really make identical, origami, the one which you were making.
Yeah.
If I may quickly ask the audience, the participants, suppose if we consider this activity that Dr. Anup has demonstrated, where all can we use it? Write in the chat box. Stress relieving activity, okay, can be. As a fun activity, it can be, yes. Schools, okay, student in school as energizer, okay. What more? Anything else? So if you want to demonstrate the importance of clear instructions, especially when you are explaining something like the charge notes or explaining a procedure, or when you want to actually make sure that you are able to integrate all senses, because some people are good at listening, some people are good at reading, some people enjoy by learning. Most of us enjoy and learn by doing. So if you are able to integrate all senses, where like Dr. Anup was giving us auditory instructions, was also showing us how to do it, so we could see him doing it, and we could also see the difference in the impact. This whole thing can also be used to explain the importance of effective handing over tools. The same activity. Suppose if you are taking a session on handing over tools, and if you are able to do this activity in these three manners, in one, it is just verbal. Second is that you are saying, but the other person is not actually doing it, like it was imaginary doing. Second was doing it, and third was actually showing and doing. So you could even use this activity to demonstrate. So when you're handing over, how important it is to actually be, physically there with the patient, show them what needs to be done or what has been done or what are your concerns. So this can be a good way also to talk about that. Okay, and Captain Sandhya says it can be used when we need to enhance understanding of audience for ideas, design and outcome. Very right. Because a lot of concepts when Dr. Anup started was very abstract, and it was very difficult for all of us to follow. For example, for me, when you said you have to touch that right tip of the paper to the down, this thing, I actually made it double. Like I just brought it on the same side, whereas you wanted us to go diagonal. So, I did it because the way, this is what I understood. So very right. If you want to talk about anything abstract, it's very important to, use all your senses for learning. Preparing plan for important program, very right. And especially Dr. Bala, when you are having a team whom you want to be on the same page, so it's very important to clearly give our instructions so that your instructions have been very well understood and they will be implemented as it is. That's very important. Yeah. So management leaders for clear instructions, very right. I agree with you, Dr. Anuradha. And then make the audience understand the power of communication. Very right. I think we are all on the same page now. So it was an excellent activity, Dr. Anup, and it has a lot of diverse application. not just to show that how important it is to give clear instructions, even if you want to show difference in perception, you may give same set of instructions, but each one of us will perceive very differently, because we perceive what we know. We are not able to perceive what we don't know. I see what mind knows. So again, that is something that you could do. So wonderful. I think it was a very, very good activity. So quickly, what is your takeaway from these two pedagogies? One that Pooja has presented and the other Dr. Anup has presented. So
takeaway, pardon. Shall I?
Please go ahead. Yeah, quickly.
So from Dr. Anup's pedagogy, I have understood the power of clear instructions. And my takeaway would be, as a trainer in future, as I plan to be, I have to be very, very clear and powerful with my vocabulary and the words, the way they are planned. So that is with Dr. Anup, and with Pooja. It's a very beautiful activity to be done in the beginning, in the middle, or in the end, for keeping your engaging your audience.
Very right. Thank you, Dr. Anuradha. And one word of caution that I want to give to all of you is, please practice your instructions very carefully. If as an instructor you fumble anywhere, and if you're not clear about what you want to say, it can leave your audience confused and put off. So really, very clearly, don't hesitate even writing your script of the instructions. At times we think, I can talk this, I can explain it. But when it comes to exactly knowing the word that will fit in that particular script, sometimes we don't get the word extempo. So always a good idea is to first write your script. What instructions are you going to give? You will see the impact of your activity changing many, many times. Thank you. I think both of you did a wonderful job. So now moving forward, we will have a discussion and presentation around a very important topic, and that is breaking bad news. After that, we will have two more presentations, one by Dr. Anuradha and second by Dr. Rajesh Pai. If somebody could message Dr. Rajesh Pai, Dr. Bala, can you message him, asking him when is he planning to join, because we need to confirm his. Yeah, please do that. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to have a role play before we actually have the discussion on this topic of breaking bad news. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put three of you in a breakout room. So as of now, we are 9 of us, excluding me, 8. And Dr. Saifuddin, will you be able to participate or not yet? If you could just message me. Will you be able to participate, or he's on the road and he says he's not able to participate? So maybe Captain Sandhya, will you be able to participate in the role play?
Yes, ma'am, I can do that.
Okay, great. So I think barring Dr. Saifuddin, all of you are in a good place to participate. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 people. We have 7 of you. So I'll be creating 2 breakout rooms. So in the breakout room, I'm going to give you one situation which I will be showing you a slide. In that activity, one of you will have to play the role of a doctor who is going to break the bad news. Second will be the patient for whom the news is going to be shared. And the third person will be a family member. So we are going to have 2 breakout rooms. So in one breakout room, we'll have 3 people and the other one will have 4 people. So where we will have 4 people, we can assume that 2 of you will be patients attendant. Is that clear? One physician who is going to break bad news. Second, the patient who is going to be, hearing the news, and 2 attendants. So I would expect you to actually imbibe the role and get into that role. If you were actually that patient, how would have you felt? How would have you reacted? And when even it comes to the family members, please try to play the role of the family member like you normally see how family reacts when they get to know about any serious diagnosis. So just try to get into the role, although it might appear a little artificial to you, but I think playing role play is one of the best ways of learning and experiencing the emotions. How many of you are comfortable with the role play? With the idea of role play? Reena is comfortable. What about others? Dr.
Ma'am,
Anurag?
Sandhya, ma'am, I'm also comfortable.
Comfortable. Okay. So Dr. Anup did not raise his hand, and also Dr. Leah did not raise his hand. It's all right. So what are your concerns? I want to understand first from both of you.
Ma'am,
You
that,
can unmute. You
that
can
play
unmute.
doesn't come out. The actor
Sorry?
in me doesn't come out.
It doesn't come out. I completely agree. Because we are not used to that kind of. But being a trainer, Dr. Anup, sooner you get rid of this inhibition, better it will be. Because a lot of time you will have to do the role play, you will have to give them demo. If you are not comfortable at it, that you will not be able to give demo. And demo and role plays go hand in hand. And people might ask you, okay, we didn't do it well. Dr. Anup, show us how should I have done it. And if you say I'm not comfortable doing it, then your words and your actions will not be taken seriously. So we have to get rid of this. To the extent, honestly, I am in US, so I had just requested ACH yesterday that I want to be certified simulated patient. Have you heard the concept of simulated patient? Not heard of it, no? Not really. I know this concept is absolutely absent in our country. See, for practice session and for examination purpose, students get patients who are trained to be patients. They are not patients, but people like you and me, they take the training to act as a patient. And if you will see their acting, it is so genuine that you would actually be surprised to see how well they play the role of a patient. So I had an opportunity to go to Sri Lanka as a resource person in one of their programs. And trust me, they are far ahead of us when it comes to actually implementing communication trainings and assessments in a serious manner. They had around 60, 70 people like you and me, doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff, who were certified simulated patients. And the acting they do, if you see it, you will feel like crying seeing their acting. They're so close to natural. So yesterday I requested one of the faculty in ACH that I want to be a certified simulated patient because I want to learn how do you play the role of a patient. And that's very important to be a trainer. Captain Sandhya, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. What I was going to say to this is actually started to come in India, and thanks to the World Skills Competition. And in that, probably last 2 years, we have an Indian as a judge as well. And so, ma'am, it's just a coincidence by virtue of the role. Last 2 years, I have been part of the team to prepare the Indian and the youth team, and for the healthcare vertical. For the skills, and then the team goes and participates. The last ones have taken place in Moscow last year, ma'am. That was 1 year pre-COVID, then 2018 and or 2019. Ma'am, in that, actually this year it was due after the wave 2 in Pragati Maidan for the level the nationals. So in this, ma'am, actually in this World Skills Competition, when we gear up, there are human, I would say normal people who are actually groomed, who are trained to be patients. And in this, they receive an appropriate training. And they get a download, they undergo workshop, they have been taught to, it's not that detailed, but at least a 3-day workshop for them on how this is the situation, and in this condition, you need to behave this. So like this. So these are the people which are actually picked up a little bit of healthcare background. I can say for healthcare because I witnessed and I was part of it. And so probably that is the beginning, ma'am, when the need is felt that yes, even the patients or the, I would say, not the mannequins, but the live patients or the demo patients need to be trained and oriented. So
I'm so happy to know about this. I would really love to be part of something like this if you ever get a chance to involve me.
Yes, ma'am, I can connect you.
Sure, that will be a pleasure. And I'm also looking forward for this, taking a formal training to be a simulated patient right in US in case if I get an opportunity. I'll definitely do and share the details with all of you. Thank you so much. But you must tell me in case if anything happens in our country, because I would like to really seriously be a part of the activity
Sure.
of kind.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So Dr. Leah, what are your reservations on the role play?
Ma'am, it's because I'm with my colleagues and I'm at my workplace. Otherwise, I don't think I will have a problem. I am okay with the role play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that you have, because I know a lot of us have inhibition to role play because it's little artificial, and then sometimes it is not possible to sink into that role, and you feel, you know, that it's something artificial. But trust me, role plays are the best ways to actually practice in a safe place. Something that I can do without harming the patient, actually being in the real-time situation, and then, you know, the embarrassment or the outcome sometimes which is not very pleasant that you experience in the real life situation can be avoided by practicing it through role plays. So it's a wonderful way. And the training that I'm doing with ACH, they have a lot of emphasis on role plays, and I'm really learning it extensively from them. How do you really go about? So never mind. I think what we will do, I'll break you into two rooms, and you will have to choose between you. One person who will play the role of the physician, second who will be the patient, and the group which will have 4 members. I think I'll put Dr. Saifuddin also in one of the group. He can just be observer. If not, then the other 2 can be the attendant. But let me quickly share the situation with you so that you all know what situation are we going to talk about. Okay, so this is the situation where one of you will play the role of the doctor, the other one will be patient, and patient is a young man or woman. It can be anybody, like whoever becomes the patient, diagnosed with CA pancreas. And now the doctor is supposed to break the bad news to the patient and their family. This is the situation. I've kept the situation very, very simple so that we don't have to get into a lot of information. So the patient is already diagnosed. You have done your initial testing, and now the patient is diagnosed with CA pancreas, and you have to, share the information with the patient and the family. So I am going to. I've not enabled breakout room in this, so I'm not able to make the breakout room. Okay, so maybe what I will do quickly, right here in the main area, somebody will have to volunteer to be the physician who is ready to do the role of the doctor. Anybody who is comfortable doing the role. Oh, good that you have joined from your laptop. Good.
I just reached.
Must be tired. You can have a cup of tea and coffee in between in case if you.
नहीं वो खुद बनानी पड़ेगी इसलिए I'll not get up.
Oh.
I'm good. Thank you so much.
So who would volunteer to play the role of a doctor? It's okay. You don't have to be a doctor to play the role of a doctor. We are just doing a practice session. Dr. Anuradha, can I request you to be? It's just practice, yeah. We are just trying to understand how the whole thing goes about. Then who would volunteer to be the patient? Somebody who would volunteer to be the patient. Okay, Captain Sandhya, fine. So Captain Sandhya, when it comes to playing the role of a patient, you have to actually imbibe that role. You have to get into that role and see if this actually happens to us, how would we feel? Okay, then who would be the family members? I need at least 2 family members. Please volunteer. I think we have to shed our, this. Okay, Dr. Bala and Pooja, both of them have volunteered. Wonderful. So assume that both of you are siblings to Captain Sandhya. You are a brother and sister to Captain Sandhya. Okay. Now, rest of you who will be observing. For example, Dr. Leah, Reena, Dr. Saifuddin, I don't know if you will be able to reply, but okay, Dr. Anu. So 3 of you will be observing 3 different parties. Dr. Leah, you will be observing the physician, that is Dr. Anuradha. So you will focus on the language, you will focus on the tone of voice, that is paralanguage, and you will focus on the body language and how she does it. And look at the good points, what I'm trying to look at it, not the finding fault. You can note down whatever you think could have been added, but the focus is on how she did it well. What all did she do well? So focus on the language, paralanguage, and body language. So Dr. Leah, you would be focusing on that. Okay, Rina, can I request you to observe the patient and try to understand patient's perspective? Of course, we'll be asking the patient, how did she feel? But then we want to see from your outside perspective, how do you think like she must have felt, or what could have been the, and the way she reacted. And the 2 family members, Pooja and Dr. Bala, will be observed by Dr. Anup. So Dr. Anup, you will be observing both of them, trying to understand their point of view, their perspective. And had you been there, how would have you felt? And I mean, again, we are not looking at defaults, but this is how everybody behaves and acts, and how it could have been done differently. So we'll all have our videos off, except 4 of you, Dr. Anuradha, Captain Sandhya, and Pooja and Bala. So all of you, Dr. Bala, sorry. So you will be, you can have your cameras on. All of us otherwise will have our video off.
Just a minute, Indu ma'am. I just missed. How is Pooja and Dr. Bala related to patient?
Yes, she's sister and
they are my
Dr. Bala
siblings. They are, Bala is my brother. Pooja is my sister.
Okay.
They are my younger ones. I'm the eldest one.
Yeah. So Dr. Anuradha, do you want to know any more details about the case?
Ma'am, I'll just make it very short, no, that we have reached to the diagnosis that she has CA pancreas, correct?
Okay, okay. And I would request all of you who are observing to keep noting all your points in the chat box, so that the moment the role play is over and I ask you to give your feedback, your answers are already in the chat box and you just forward it. You can keep noting your observation in the chat box. Yes, can we start the demo?
Okay, yes, ma'am. Let's just take a moment.
Sure.
Yes, Captain Sandhya, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So I have entered the room where Captain Sandhya is there as a patient and Pooja and Bala are there.
Doctor साहब मेरी report आ गई.
Hello, Captain Sandhya. Kaisi ho? How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm very fine. I'm good.
Yes, looking so strong as always, ready to take your fleet on the fight. Is it?
No, it's just fever had been killing, doctor. Otherwise life
You are my fighter in the whole of this ward. I know you, Captain. You will do very well. So who do we have with us today? Your beautiful sister and a strong brother.
Yes, with my brother Bala and my sister Pooja.
Good morning,
Good evening,
Bala.
madam. Good evening. Good evening.
We are planning to watch a movie after the hospital. That's why they all came together. We all came together.
Which movie you are planning?
It got released today, no? This diaries, Kashmir Diaries. Kashmir Diaries.
Kashmiri flight.
Yeah.
Yes, it will show. I have heard about it. It will show some bad aspects, but we all Indians are, fighters. We just keep on going, and you will see how India has progressed even after Kashmir files 20 years back. So, had breakfast,
Yes.
all of you?
Yes.
All blood tests taken today morning
Yes,
also? All blood tests taken?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, Captain, you were asking about your reports and your trouble that is going on. So we have come to a diagnosis, and though the diagnosis might seem very, disturbing to you, but knowing you, your family, and I'm with you, there is a news. We all will go through it together and we'll get over it. We'll do it.
What is
So
it, doctor? It's killing me.
No, don't be so scared. Nowadays, it's not a big disease, but yes, it is a cancer, and it is cancer of pancreas. I think you are aware of it. What is the pancreas? Yes, Bala and Pooja. I'll explain to you in detail later on. But yes,
Cancer.
Yes, it is a cancer. Now there are many types of cancer, but we can talk about it.
How it has been diagnosed, ma'am? She is totally fine, and how it can happen, ma'am? I think some problem is there with some blood test or something which has been done for her, ma'am. She's fine, ma'am. She's just having a fever, ma'am.
Yes, Sandhya, listen to me. Sandhya, you have to keep your heart strong. See, we do get these diagnoses, and I'm very sure our team is very capable. The diagnosis is absolutely right as per my knowledge, but I will personally go through all the tests again, see the reports again. But yeah,
ma'am, can you check again? Is it Captain Sandhya or some other patient, madam? If the report is correct, madam.
How it is possible, ma'am? Her lifestyle, her way of eating, everything is so right, and I can't accept it, ma'am. How it happened
We'll understand about the causes also. Many a times it's not only lifestyle and food; it is about a hereditary factor also. We'll go back into.
We have no family history, ma'am. We have no family history at all, ma'am.
Maybe when in past we don't do much of the investigations, there are histories which we are not aware of. Right now, this is the diagnosis, but I will definitely go through it again personally. Sandhya, you have to take it very strong. You are a captain, and I would like you to lead this as a captain only. Any obstacles that come in life, we always fight it out. And we have such a good treatment now. The science is progressing so fast, and I'm very, very sure you will have it. We'll have it in control. And you have such, loving brother and sister. We all are a team, no? We will go through it nicely. Do you think so? You can be with me, Sandhya? Do you have faith on me? As a doctor, I'll be always with you, and we'll have the treatment to the best of our capabilities. We'll take references and other opinions also, Sandhya. It will go well. Yes, Bala and Pooja, you all have to be with your sister. She is a captain. Let us fight it out.
Ma'am, we would like to have second opinion, because it means it's not acceptable for us.
We can definitely
how it happened.
We can definitely go for a second opinion, Pooja. Even I would like to, share all the reports and have the opinion to be very, very sure of the diagnosis. There is no doubt.
Is it a serious
how
one,
is the
doctor?
Treatment how we are going to take on this?
Doctor, how much? What is it? It is at what level, and how much time do I have?
See, we will first recheck all your reports, Sandhya. We'll go through, we'll take a second opinion, then we'll discuss out where your level is. Let us first today be accepting or with the idea that this is the diagnosis, and we'll talk in detail about the level and time. Time is good for everybody. Even 1 day is good, even 100 days are good if we live very happily. Sandhya, you know it better. I think you must be saying like that to your all teams, no?
No, doctor. No, doctor. It's okay, but we cannot able to accept it. We want the report immediately. We will get opinion from
I'll
our
do
family
my best.
doctor.
Yes. I'll do my best to get as soon as possible the second opinion as you want, Bala. Dr. Bala, we'll go ahead with that.
Ma'am, how will go like further for the treatment and all? Means I'm totally confused. I am not able to understand what to do. How to do.
Pooja,
we were planning for the movie and
let's go home. We'll talk, Pooja.
Okay.
No, doctor, can I have all my documents? Doctor, can I have all my documents?
All your documents will be given, Sandhya. We'll plan out your treatment and we'll detail everything possible with all right instructions. I will give it in written also. We'll give you all the documents to you. And we'll be in touch for the further management also.
Okay.
Thank you.
We are done, Indu ma'am.
Thank you.
मेरे भाई बहन बड़े अच्छे थे.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you, for doing a wonderful job. So, to start with, Dr. Anuradha, how did it feel to be there?
A sad thing to share, ma'am, but yes, I'm now a confident woman because my mother-in-law passed away with cancer. And the day I got that news, I was unable to talk with my father-in-law because it was a very sudden decision that came. She just had breathlessness and we found she was in stage 4 cancer. And in fact, she had one side of lung hole filled with fluid and it was diagnosed as cancer. So I have lived that kind of life for a year. So yes, it is very sad, but yeah, I was, as the way I shared with Sandhya, I was very strong and I kept my father-in-law in a very high life condition, saying, yes, I will fight with you, along with you, I'll leave everything, stay with you, dad, because they were staying in Ahmedabad, we were in Pune. So I left my daughter for about 3 months with my husband and I was there with my parents, in-laws. So I was a fighter. She had a very good life. The quality of life was the only Karan ki we could. I wanted her to have the best quality of life because we knew stage 4 we cannot cover it up. So as a fighter, I kept myself as captain and led the boat. So I think that's how it has come out from me when I was sharing with Sandhya, and not that very sad feeling, but encouraging the patient. Okay, whatever it is, we will go ahead with it together as a team.
So thank you, Dr. Anuradha. I think you have shared your personal experience and that got also shown in your approach when you were interacting with Captain Sandhya and her siblings. And also now I think you know both the perspectives, perspective of the patient's family and perspective of the clinician who has to break the bad news. So when you were doing it, what was it that was, in the back of your mind going on? If you may just try to recollect and share that.
Before I wanted to break the news, I wanted to tell them what all positives they have, what all qualities they have, and how they have lived their life because she's a captain, because I took it as a point with me that I can first make her realize what all she is already. Having cancer is just a part of it and you can go ahead with your life with the same spirit. So that was my thought behind breaking the news. So I was trying to first tell her and to make her comfortable about having breakfast, looking pretty and smart. And so that was my reason.
So was there anywhere feeling of like anxiety or fear that will I be able to, although it's just a role play, but in real life, I think the magnitude of the problem is multiple times more than what you experience in a role play.
There was anxiety, ma'am, not fear, because as a clinician, if you know what stage the patient is, you are prepared. You are prepared for. But anxiety, how the family will take it and how patient will take it, whether she'll be able to fight it out or will she succumb to the diagnosis itself, because half the battle is won in the mind itself. So that is how I was thinking. There was anxiety. How
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Captain Sandhya, if I may ask you, as a patient, what did you feel? Please unmute.
As you could see, I had full faith and very well connected with my doctor. That I was so cheerful, and I trusted. I said that okay, I'm going for my movie and other things. But the moment she was preparing me for the news, that those few seconds were killing. I'm a grown-up woman, and I can make out immediately that there is something, horrific which is going to come up for me. And it certainly, so it flashes in the head. We just waiting to hear from somebody, something, bad is going to come. And that anxiety is killing. Of course, Dr. Anuradha was doing just the right thing, but I realized it today that is the moment I don't want to listen anything because I'm eager to know the result. So here I will, ma'am, I'll put it to you on is the background or context setting is important, or dealing, or is there something really more strong and robust to deal with that anxiety? These are all adults and they know that this is going to come up. It can be because the moment she broke the news, for a moment I just didn't feel that actually I was visualizing everything. So I didn't know how to respond for a moment, but the realization set in immediately. But I was just thinking because actually could not respond, number one. And number two, then I was looking for words. And third thing is, it is actually shattering. It's and first thing came to my mind was, okay, as a patient, mere paas kitna time? Yeah, like I'm going to die. This was the first thing which comes to mind, that I'm going to die. So after that, and for a moment, don't take it personally, Dr. Radha. Then after that, everything appeared to me just a masking or coating over the situation, because nothing was relieving for me. Whatever, but she did try convincing and spoke about that there are good doctors. This thing. One thing really I wanted was and yes, I got, for a moment I was worried about my siblings, the way they started asking questions, and the setting came in that I'm a responsible person in my house. What will happen? Because when I'm no more, everything started, and entire world came crashing. No, it's like flashed in my mind, that situation at home, their future, their career, or my role in the family and everything.
So I think I will answer two of
nothing
your
was
queries.
yes, and one more thing, nothing was making me comfortable, and I could not trust also. That's a second thing, actually.
It wasn't helping you. It wasn't helping you. So I think I'll address three things that you have 3 points that you have brought up. One is context setting. How contextual is the context setting? I think that's what is your concern. And second is the immediate emotional turmoil you start experiencing within you. How do you really handle it or express it? And third, as you said, that everything appeared to be very superficial to me because it was not helping me. So I'll talk about it in a while, but before that, I want to take feedback from Pooja and Bala. Just quickly, if you both of you could, share your feeling. How did you feel in that situation? Quickly, like not a very detailed one, because we need to force. So Pooja, you may first share your thoughts, and then Dr. Bala can share. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. For me, it was like very unacceptable. मैं तो बिल्कुल ही मतलब उस एक्ट में चली गई थी, because at my home also my brother-in-law, he got diagnosed with carcinoma of head and neck. So he's also not having so much of time, and means I was just feeling the thing when we heard that news, and it was totally unacceptable. मतलब हम कुछ सुनना ही नहीं चाह रहे थे उस टाइम कि ऐसे कैसे हो गया. We are not accepting. हमें उस टाइम ऐसा लगता है कि the doctor has done some mistake, maybe कुछ गलत हो गया है, या कुछ रिपोर्ट ऐसे गलत आ गई है, कुछ इस तरह से. We are just justifying ourselves, and we are not able to accept it.
I completely understand. And again, thank you for sharing your personal, information that and those of you who have seen something like this in your own family, I think you would understand and relate with this role play very, very well. Thank you, Pooja, for sharing your thoughts. Dr. Bala.
Yeah, first is the trust, madam, that the report is correct or not. The trust in the reports and the doctors, because we came with a small fever, as we have conversation during. That is the one point. Second part is that I could able to accept it in the beginning itself, because in the beginning we started with we are laughing and we are telling that we are going for a movie. So all of a sudden it was informed that you are having cancer pancreas. So that denial, we cannot able to accept it, because she is the younger one, and that is the second part. So these two things we have experienced.
I understand completely. I agree.
And also I'm waiting for a reply from Dr. Sandhya, but she didn't reply, so we have jumped in and acted in the role play.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that is the thing.
But I think she expressed her concerns very clearly.
Yeah,
asked her for this. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I understood.
So if I may quickly ask the observers to share briefly, what did you observe? And I would request you to talk only the positive part, because we are here not to discourage. Somebody who has agreed to do the role of a physician doesn't mean that we have to find fault with that person. We are just going to learn from this role play. What all do you think she did well, one by one, if I may ask? Dr. Leah, you will be the first one to respond.
Yes, ma'am. So should I put it in the chat box and then explain, or
Anyway,
how should I?
you can put in the chat box. If it is already there, you can click it and we can read the notes also, and then also if you could verbally explain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So regarding the language, the doctor was polite and cheerful, and she was motivating throughout, wherever she could motivate the patient as well as the attendants. She was motivating, and she was providing support as well in terms of source, and also in terms of words. She was telling that my team will be there, I will be there, and that was providing the support, and also assuring them that the patient and the attendants will be overcoming the situation along with the doctor and the staff. And then she was handling the questions quite well, pretty well, because when the patient had asked about the stage, rather than revealing the stage immediately, I don't know if the doctor knew the stage then, but still she handled it quite well there. And paralanguage, she was looking at both of them, and both the siblings as well as the patient, and eye to eye contact was there. She wasn't looking anywhere else. And then the tone of voice was calm almost throughout the conversation. And when the patient and the attendants were stressed, even then she did not have any fluctuation in the tone of voice. She was calm almost throughout the conversation. These were my observations.
Wonderful. I think that was a very elaborate observation. Thank you so much, Dr. Leah.
Thank you.
Sorina, if I may ask you to give your observation about the patient.
Yes, ma'am. The patient seemed quite positive. Initially, patient was anxious. Everyone is like, what's the situation? How am I? When will I be okay? And she's excited. And she was expecting something positive, some positive reply. Okay, everything is fine. It's just minor and you'll be going home soon. And then there's no problem about it. So that happened. Okay, finally, when she heard, she was shocked, scared, okay, losing hope. She was in despair. What will happen? What's gonna happen? But lastly, what I could see, that she had that fighting attitude. That okay, fine. Let's go ahead. Let us consult. Give me all my documents, and yeah, okay, we are looking forward. And whatever needful has to be done, I'll take the treatment, and we'll see what best happens. So that fighting attitude was there. So yeah, that was my observation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reena. So Dr. Anup, if you may share your observation about both the attendants.
Yeah, ma'am. Like both Dr. Bala and Pooja, I think one thing was like Bala was acted good in the sense when he was very anxious when the doctor told cancer. So he just asked back, he said cancer. And again, Pooja's perception that her sister cannot have cancer because she was always fine. So that was one good thing. And the other one was that like Pooja was talking about taking a second opinion. So these were the things I think which we can relate to all the people. I think these are the two things. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So Dr. Anuradha, given a chance, and after having received feedback from everyone, do you think anything you would like to do differently if you were given a chance to do it again?
I just felt from Captain Sandhya's comments that whether the context setting that I did was too long. I could have cut it a little shorter. One was that. And I should have considered detailing the stage rather than the time left with her. So that is just a thought. Should I have? I'm also still right now, I think I'm in a dilemma whether a doctor should share immediately, because Dr. Leah said it is a positive thing. So I think I was right there. But that is again a thing, because if we share that also, it prepares mentally the patient and relatives.
Wonderful.
So that is one.
I think that's a very good introspection that you have done, and you have taken a very good, takeaway from the whole role play. Now coming to my understanding, I think you did an excellent job all through. You were very calm. You were trying to connect with them, assure them, be supportive. I mean, indicating that I'm there to help you, and we will all, work through this together. And I really appreciate that gesture, and that's what I think patients want to hear. A couple of things that I would like you to reconsider. Yes, one, context setting has to be keeping in mind what exactly are you going to deliver. If it was a good news, then it would have taken the patient from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. That's fine. But if you have taken the patient to a cheerfulness and then taking it down, it's going to be a huge fall for the patient and the family. Because if I'm talking about going for a movie, how is that movie? How are you feeling? Did you have breakfast? I mean, if I'm talking about all this, people don't expect anything serious after this. Like, you get an idea when you meet a person, what is the likely interaction to be. So creating a emotional shock or a psychological shock can be very dangerous. So had you entered the room with a serious note on your face and still asked, Sandhya, how are you feeling? Did you have your breakfast? I mean, as I said, 93% of the communication is your facial expression and tone of voice. With the same question, not like talking about movie, but then generally, Sandhya, how are you feeling? How's your fever? Are you able to eat well? Is there anything that's bothering you right now? So you are now signposting. You're taking the patient to one direction. So going in one direction and suddenly taking left or right or U-turn can be dangerous. So we have to be careful. So context setting itself means that you are setting the context for the actual dialogue. So it doesn't have to create any ambiguity or controversy like it created in our case. Although your gesture was very, very nice, but then patient and the family can take it. Are you not affected by my diagnosis? That's one thing. And second is, a lot of time you were very reassuring. I would say it's slightly risky in today's time. There was a time when you reassured, even if you knew the patient is going to die, and the patient and family were very happy with your reassurance. Today is era of Google. Today is era of mistrust. If you reassure, tomorrow they can catch hold of your collar and say, you were saying I will be all right. You were saying it's nothing serious. You were saying she will be fine. And today you are giving me this news. So please be careful. Promise less, deliver more. If you promise more and deliver less, you can be in trouble. So we have to be very careful, very cautious with our words. Third thing that you said, if they were asking about this stage, what I would say, when you break a bad news, it is actually built on. So the first interaction where I doubt that there is a possibility of cancer, and maybe in the first stage, I'll say, I think we need to go for ultrasound. I can see a lump, but I can't say with confidence what it is. I think after we have the ultrasound report, I can tell you more clearly. Then in the second meeting, maybe I'll say, I've seen the ultrasound report and I can see a lump. We need to now find out what it is. And we have to go for CT scan or something. So what you're doing, you're building on it. So in the second, you have already said, okay, we are going for CT scan. In the third one, okay, I think the CT scan report is really not very encouraging. And that's really, something we need to take seriously. I need to get some more investigations done to confirm or to rule out my thought about the disease. So what you're doing, you have already built on it. Family is prepared. The patient is prepared. Now they already know in the fourth meeting that I am going to hear whether it is cancer or not. Another thing, the word cancer. How many of you would take it lightly, even if you were told that it is harmless and it can be treated? Honest, any one of you? Because we have a very negative association with this term called cancer. Forget about cancer. I'll share my personal experience. It's almost like 15 years ago, or maybe much more, 20 years. 2001. कितने साल हो गए? 22 साल? 22 साल, 22 years ago. My kids were very young. I had breathing difficulty and fever for a few days. So my husband took me to one of his friends who is a physician. He examined me and he said, okay, let us get the x-ray done. We got the x-ray done and he could see small shadow, in the lower lobe of one of my lungs. So he put me on antibiotics and he said, okay, we are starting with the antibiotics. I hope this shadow subsides with the antibiotics. In case if it does not, then we will have to really, it could be tuberculosis and we need to then, go ahead with the investigations for tuberculosis. But let's see for 3-4 days. His saying this much was enough to trigger the flight of thoughts, like Captain Sandhya asked, how much time do I have? TB, pulmonary tuberculosis, which is curable, which is treatable. Trust me, I started questioning what will happen to my kids, who will look after them. I can't make them sleep with me. They can't share food with me. Who will teach them? Where will they sleep? They always sleep with me in the same bed. 110 questions. So this is how patients' world shatters with these diagnoses. It's not just about cancer, simple things like tuberculosis. And it's my personal experience I'm sharing with. So at that moment, rather than we doing the talking, I think as physicians, we all have to learn one thing, and that's one lacuna I see in our country. We don't let the patient speak. We don't ask the patient to share their thoughts, their feelings. What do they want to know? What are they experiencing? What are their challenges? Where do they see it? How do they see it? What do they want to do about it? And we do most of the talking with the idea that my assurance will help. At that moment, patient is physically with you, but mentally zoned out. So the whole idea of this role play was to help all of you be in the position of the doctor. Trust me, breaking bad news is not easy. It's very difficult. Many of you may not be doing it because you are not into clinician's role, and many of you may be clinicians. So at least we get to empathize with the clinician who has to do this role. It's not easy. And I think another learning is, even if you as a patient hear this inner role play that you have cancer, we don't want to even hear that in the role play. Yes, Dr. Radha, you have a question, I think. Please.
Yeah, ma'am, the way you said you have to build it on, but many a times, like in my case, there were no symptoms, and we had tested her because they have a history of cancer in family. So I used to keep her on pap smears and biopsies, but it never came positive. And suddenly it was there, and it was stage 4. So in such a case, there has to be a breaking of bad news, and they have to inform us.
Yeah.
So in that case, how do you deliver?
Okay. So for example, like if I take your mother-in-law's case, that means this news has to be given right then and there itself. And the patient has done number of tests and they all were negative in the past, but the present report has turned positive. Am I understanding it right? Okay. So now when you are going to talk about this report, first you are going to ask what is their understanding of the situation. So आपको क्या लगता है कि इनके केस में क्या हुआ है? What do you think it is? Assume that I am the therapist and you are the patient's attendant, है ना? And I'm seeing your report. So Dr. Anuradha, आपने बताया कि आप इनके regular pap smear वगैरह करवा रहे थे, and it were all turning negative. कुछ भी नहीं निकला कभी भी? कभी भी कुछ नहीं आया किसी में भी? No doubt, no doubt. Any other symptom that indicated that she has some health issues or some serious issues?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet.
No.
So जो ये recent symptoms हैं, इसमें आपको क्या लग रहा है? What is your understanding?
She is diabetic, ma'am. So there are chances that her diabetes has become very much uncontrolled and has led to some severe infection in the chest.
Dr. Anuradha, it's very shocking that although she has got all the tests done so regularly under your care, but very surprisingly, this report is very disappointing and very discouraging. And in this case, I think I think it's something very serious, and we need to really, get a repeat test done to confirm it. But I think it's something serious, and we need to take it seriously. So if it is okay, I would like to repeat the test and also do some more investigations to confirm before I say you something very serious.
What are you suspecting?
I am suspecting something. Let's keep our fingers crossed, but at the same time, I want to, prepare you and prepare your family, because I know it may come as a huge shock for you, in spite of the fact that you have been caring so much for her and looking after her so well. But then, unfortunately, it could be very serious. So I think we'll get some tests done and then make an announcement with your family or with the patient. Is it okay?
Actually, ma'am, no, we never revealed to our mother-in-law. She never knew that she had cancer. So that was one thing. She had real high myopic eyes, so she couldn't see. So we used to take her to hospital, and she wouldn't know which hospital it is. So we just said treatment.
How many of you agree with? I respect your decision, Dr. Anuradha. I respect your decision. And I don't mean to say wrong or right, but how many of you think it's okay not to reveal to the patient? And I understand the intention. I'm not doubting your intention. But I want to know from the group, how many of you think it's a good idea not to tell to the patient? Reena, go ahead. Unmute your device, Reena.
Because letting know the patient about the disease, if it's a very severe one, and that might cause anxiety, okay, and patient might feel demotivated, might lose confidence, and like ab kya hoga, it'll add again to the worsening of the health situation and everything. So when we know that the doctor is there dealing with it, and we as attendants, we are informed about what treatment is going to happen, what progress is going to happen, so I would definitely think it's better not to tell the patient about it, and just go on with the treatment, keep us updated about it, and let the progress happen. Because
sure. So anybody else who do not agree with what Reena has said? I respect your words, Reena. I think you have expressed very well. Anybody who does not agree with Reena? Yes, Captain Sanjay.
I don't, ma'am, I don't agree.
Okay.
First one, ma'am, sorry, but first one, it's patient's right to information, ma'am. Number one, we just can't deny the information, and we can't delay it, ma'am. Patient will come back to us, patient will sue us that this report is dated 1st January and I'm being told 15th January. Hospital was in possession of this report 15 days back and I have been denied this information. It's a very difficult situation for the healthcare workers, for the doctors, or this thing. But so there is this important
angle. I think Reena means talk to the family, tell the family, but not the patient. I think that's what she intends saying. Not hiding from the family, but hiding from the patient and not sharing that. I think that's what is at this thing. But I completely, yeah.
Ma'am, that will be again, it will be more dangerous, and unless until the patient is an illiterate, very old person who is only living under the
care of the family,
in a care mode. Yes, ma'am. And bedridden. So otherwise Rest anybody else, ma'am, will be.
I'll share my thoughts on this. You're free to agree or disagree, please. I mean, I'll just share my thought. Dr. Leah, do you have anything to add to what Captain Sandhya has said or Rina has said?
Yes, we always think that the other person is fragile and cannot take the news that is broken to them. We never know unless we try it. And I know that this is not the situation where you try if the patient has the willpower, but then you are avoiding the situations where if the patient gets to know later on, like how Captain Sandhya said, then such situations you are avoiding. And according to me personally, I feel that it should be broken to the patient, and the patient should be given the space to take it all, and then deal with it. That is what I feel personally.
Dr. Leah, at a very young age, you have thought of a lot of things. I really appreciate. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
So if you ask me my personal thoughts on it, I would say, one, yes, I agree with Leah that we normally think people are more fragile than actually they are. We underestimate the power to face the reality. That's one thing. The second perspective that I want to add to your thought process is the moment you get to know that, I mean, I'm heading towards death, there are a lot of things that you want to do before you die. We normally think it's an unlimited time zone. But the moment I'll get to know, okay, I have this much time, there'll be a number of things that I'm keeping on hold. I'll put them on priority, do them. Maybe ask for an apology, forgive somebody, call somebody, talk to somebody, give something that I want to give, do some actions before I die. So I think we will be depriving the patient of all these opportunities. All these opportunities, that the person can make use of. Yes, telling, providing support, doing whatever you can do, and facilitating the last desires of the person would be a better option than sending the patient without the idea that my time here is done. But then that's my opinion. You're free to disagree. I have seen a lot of patients and their family members saying, please don't tell my patient, please don't disclose it to my patient. I always say, I know that will be painful, but after you will emerge out of it, you'll be better prepared to deal with how you want to use your time. But that's again your choice. Okay, so now moving towards the presentation, I think one idea through this role play and through this discussion we all have is that breaking bad news is probably the trickiest communication in all clinical communication topics. And that is something we really need to learn. First of all, those who are going to do it, who are part of the process. Third, as a trainer, this is one topic you must always do with the doctors and with the nurses. With the doctors, because they are the one who will be doing it. With the nurses, because they are part of the team and they play a huge role when the patient's condition is serious or when the patient prognosis is poor. So as a healthcare provider, I have to express my empathies, my understanding, care, compassion, not just to the patient, but also to the attendants, because I need to be more understanding of their plight. So even for nurses and those who are not going to directly break the bad news, this is a very important topic, and this should be part and parcel of all clinical communication trainings. So I'm sharing the screen with you to share the presentation quickly. Okay. Okay, so we have done these role plays. We have done one role play here. So question is, what is bad news? What is bad news?
Any news which is not good.
Like, for example?
Something which one is not expecting, something which is not, one is not prepared for. one doesn't want to listen.
Exactly. So sometimes we think it's just death or very serious diagnosis, but even simple diagnosis like tuberculosis, like I said, in my case, or for example, diabetes. I remember a boy was brought to me, he was an MBBS student. He was brought to me by his parents, and they thought he's just stressed out because of the college curriculum and the, serious atmosphere of the college. So they said that please counseling him and talk to him. And when I went into the details, the boy had OCD and he required medical intervention. And when I spoke to the parents and I told them that he will require, intervention by a psychiatrist and he will have to be put on medicine, they were completely shocked because that was something they were not expecting. So bad news is not just about death or cancer, but it can be any, information that you share with the patient, which is serious and has adverse event. It has impact on the individual's life in future and indirect bearing on the family and the society on the whole. So what challenges do you expect to experience, suppose like in such situations when you have to break a bad news? What do you think call can happen? You can write in the chat box, I think that will give us more answers. What challenges do you think a clinician would expect to experience?
Arrogant behavior from the patient party, a lot of questions, apprehensions.
Yeah.
Complete
Correct.
breakdown also of the patient and family can happen.
Agreed. Agreed. What else? What else? So you expect kind of reaction from the patient, not ready to accept, or may like Pooja said, that we start doubting that something wrong has been done, or something that was required to be done that has not been done in the care. They may blame you for the outcome. They may blame the system for the delay, for not being attentive, for not being careful, not being timely. So very often we get to hear these kind of, at the patient's end. What do you think? What are patients' perspective? What do you think as a patient one would feel? So usually you're not expecting something like this. So definitely it comes as a shock. Helplessness. Very true, Dr. Anuradha, I agree. Shattered. True. Very true, Dr. Leah. Shattered. As I said, cancer, even if it is 100% curable, you feel very helpless and hopeless. What to do next? Yes. Clueless. What next? What is going to be done? Am I going to be all right? Doubt, anger, demotivated. Very right, Dr. Bala. I agree with you. And why only talk of cancer? Like, for example, COVID-19, when it happened, when all of us, I don't know how many of you had it, but I had it. But I know at that moment you doubt what will be the outcome. Will I be all right? Will I recover out of it? Scared. Very true. You feel so doubtful of your outcome and you feel something serious might happen to me and I may not recover from that. Very right. So these are the things that the patients would experience and they like to be addressed in breaking up bad news. Clinicians feel upset and they sometimes blame themselves for the outcome. It's not that easy, especially initially when you are learning how to break the bad news. I mean, we have a tendency to feel that I am responsible for the outcome. Yes, finances, will I handle all loss? Very right, Pooja. I understand financial concerns are equally very, very important. So, especially with the younger generation doctors, why do you think we are experiencing more challenges when it comes to breaking bad news? And you must have seen a lot of violence get triggered when we break bad news. So what challenges do you think the younger generation doctor experience and why? Any one of you can unmute and answer. Anyone?
Maybe they are not matured enough or experienced enough to be very empathetic in delivering the news to them. So that is, I think, one reason.
I completely agree with you. I think that maturity to handle emotions is very important, and you don't anticipate emotional reaction. You're not able to see the sometimes seriousness of the situation, how that's going to impact the patient and the family, and you don't know how to handle that reaction that's going to come from the patient and the family. And sometimes that reaction is so natural that even if it is not, reacted to, it would go down on its own. But then we have a tendency to react to it, and that can actually end up into a violence or aggressive reaction from the. So this is one slide I like to share with my audience. In this, they're carrying a dead body, and they're carrying a banner in front of the dead body, indicating that this patient died because of the mistake of this doctor, and this doctor should be punished for this death. Imagine. I'm not sure if any error actually happened in the care, but I'm sure there was a lot of communication gap. And therefore, the patient's family is still under the impression that the death happened because of the negligence and not because of for any other reason. So breaking of bad news is one of the trickiest and most difficult communication, as most of the aggressive reactions occur after the breaking of bad news. Breaking of bad news require advanced level communication skills and great experience in handling emotions. I think this is one thing that we really need to focus on. We need to know how do you really, carry yourself, how do you talk, what should be your body language, what should be the tone of voice, and then also how do you handle those emotional reactions that come from the patient and the family. So one really needs to be good at words, body language, paralanguage, handling emotions, and also controlling your own emotions, because you are likely to get overwhelmed with the response that you will receive from the patient's family. For example, if they start blaming you for negligence or for not caring enough or for any other reason, definitely there will be emotional reaction from your side. So you have to literally be very good at, controlling your own emotional reactions to not to, complicate the situation. So a word of advice that I always like to give to my audience is that build good rapport with every patient, because you never know which case might turn into an emergency and you may have an unanticipated outcome. A lot of time, everything is going well and suddenly patient develops, some complication or some health condition, when the prognosis becomes poor or the condition deteriorates. So that is where your rapport building and a good image would come in play, and patient and the family would still trust you for not having done any harm willfully. And that's where you really need to have that image that you are a caring doctor and you're concerned about the welfare. Creating familiarity goes a long way in creating a good image. Studies show that patients and their family are less likely to be aggressive if they're familiar with you. So creating familiarity is a wonderful way to build good rapport with your patient and their family. Keep the patient and the family in the loop by addressing their queries time to time. Whenever they come to you with questions about seriousness of the condition, prognosis of the patient, financial implications, what is the likely outcome, do not evade these questions. Address them then and there so that they can take a informed decision and don't blame you for being kept ill-informed. Regularly update them about any changes in the condition or no changes in the condition or whatever is the likely outcome. Again, they can take a call depending upon whatever you update them. And also involve them in decision making. Please do not decide on patient's behalf, otherwise they will blame you for not being involved. Always put the ball in their court and let them decide what they want to do. Tell them the advantages and disadvantages of both or multiple options that are available, and let them choose what you think is suitable. For example, in case of cancer also, if you say, okay, let's go ahead with chemotherapy and radiotherapy is not advisable or radiotherapy is better, they may go to a second doctor and somebody might say, no, they should not have done chemotherapy. They should have first done the radiotherapy and then they should have followed up with the chemotherapy. Now they're confused and now they're going to blame you for the wrong order of treatment. So tell them, and even if they ask you for second opinion, it's a good idea to be open to the idea of, second opinion, and voluntarily you can share the details with, like Dr. Anuradha said, I'm ready to give you all the details, all the patient's information. You can go for second opinion, and then let me know what do the others say, and then we can decide what we can do. So involving them in even choosing the line of treatment is something that they would really be, happy if you involve them. So transparency and honesty throughout the diagnosis and treatment goes a long way in letting them know that you are with them and you're honest in your approach. Anywhere, if you're not sharing the detail, or you're hiding the detail, or you're avoiding to tell about like whatever you want to tell about, they get to know, and then they would have an image that you are not being honest. I think one thing that we really need to understand, and that will help you in handling the reactions coming from the patient's party, is that when the patient has any serious diagnosis, the family is looming under the greatest fear of life. And what is that? That is fear of death. And anybody's behavior and thought process and reaction would go haywire the moment you will get to know that, okay, me or any of my family member is likely to die. I mean, we all react very differently, very differently. For example, if I throw a snake at you, how do you think you would react? How would you react?
Run away immediately.
Run away.
You will
Start
shout,
shouting.
you run away, you will throw something at me, and the moment you will realize that, oh, this was an artificial snake.
You can laugh out.
But the emotional gets triggered the moment our existence or our loved one's existence is at risk. And our reactions are very different than anticipated. Even wise people become completely weird when it comes to, facing the death. So when you are going to break the bad news or the patient has poor prognosis, I always say even the nurses and the paramedicals working in that critical care area have a very important role to play. They need to be more, compassionate, more understanding of the patient's family's plight, not just the patient's plight. We normally think patient is my primary client. We need to understand it's the family as well, because they are the one who are suffering the brunt of this situation. Patient still has a bed and care and treatment. The family is actually running around pillar to post, getting medicines, getting things arranged and all other things. So we got to be more compassionate with the patient and the patient's family, and addressing their emotional is something that they really want to be looked after. I'm forgetting the name of this study. In that study, 40 options were given to the patient's family. What would you want, as top 5 things from the care providers? And top 5 were that somebody should update us on regular basis about the patient condition. Second is, please understand our plight. We are suffering, and somebody should assure us that the best care will be provided to the patient, and whatever can be done will be done in it. And address our emotions, because we are also in emotional turmoil. So I think this is something we got to take seriously and look after. And I think here design thinking would greatly help you in designing your services to meet the patient and the family's need. So people working in critical care areas, I always say, you need to be more understanding with the family. For example, sometimes we become very strict on the idea that only visitors will be allowed during the visiting hours. I always tell them, maybe these are the last few hours and the family can see their patient. If you say, okay, you have to come only during the visiting hours, suppose if the patient dies before those visiting hours, so family loses the chance to see their patient alive. So we need to be more compassionate and understanding, and not saying allow everybody and anybody to come and visit the patient, but at least the close family member, the wife, husband, children, siblings, they should be given this, option to visit the patient and, see the patient for a couple of minutes. So when it comes to breaking the bad news or updating the family, it's always a good idea that the senior most person present in the system should do the breaking of bad news. Because one, you are familiar with the case. Second, they see you as an authority. And third, you will be able to handle the situation in a far more mature manner than your residents or young persons. But yes, young residents should be allowed to observe the interaction, because that's where they will be able to learn how do you really go about breaking the bad news. So I'm going to share a short protocol of breaking bad news with you. And there are many protocols available. This one I found very useful. So this is what I normally share, but then there are many other protocols available. So this is 4 P's. The first P is preparation, where you prepare yourself, then preparing the place where you're going to do the breaking of bad news, and then preparing the patient so that you can break the bad news in an amicable manner. Second P is performance. How do you go about doing it? Third P is palliate. That means after you have done it, now how do you really, take it forward? And then finally, the plan of action that you need to share with the patient and the family. So when we talk about the preparation of the physician, most important is that before you go to break the bad news, please know and confirm the facts. Be 100% of the know of what is patient's condition, what tests have been done, what reports have been arrived, what is the consensus. Because a lot of time when patient and their family ask about something, some test done or some referral done or some follow-up done, and you show that you do not know, it really reflects very bad on the patient and the family. They feel that you are not fully aware of their condition. So it's very important to be 100% aware of the case, the family dynamics, the follow-up, the previous treatment, the plan of action. A lot of time, by mistake, a patient's reports are attached to another patient's report. It could be because of the same name or some confusion. And then later on you get to know, no, this report was not for this patient. Again, it can create ruckus. So be 100% sure that this report belongs to this patient so that there is no confusion. Then making connection is very important. I think we have discussed it at length after the role play, so I will not divulge much further into it. But yes, setting the context by communicating that I have something serious to discuss with you is very important. Be mentally ready to spend some time. Never do it in hurry. A lot of time I've seen people doing it before they are leaving, or they are just announcing it by the way. Even in the OPD, when there's a lot of people around, you announce that, especially in the government setup where we don't have a lot of privacy for the patient, we need to make sure that we have enough time to talk to the patient and their family. If they have questions, if they want to clarify, if they want to ask you something, you need to be there. And do not show that you are in hurry or you have somebody waiting outside, or there's a phone call I need to attend, or I have to attend another OPD. So that really upsets the patient and the family. I'm repeating, do not delegate. The person who is the primary caretaker should be doing the breaking of bad news, because you would be knowing the condition of the case and the progress of the case. Now, talking about the place, yes, in corporate setup, we have place like counseling room, and I know we normally call the family in the counseling room, or we call the family to the consultation room. But in the government setup specifically, normally we do not have any setup, and we normally do it either at the bedside or outside in the corridor, especially outside OT, outside labor room, outside ICU, or maybe we'll take the family inside and we'll do it next to the patient. But it's always a good idea to have a separate place to do the breaking of bad news. Ensure privacy so that others cannot overhear your conversation. Also, although it's not right now, but in the time to come, you will actually have to ask the patient. Although I know in our country right now, it's the family who would do the discussion first, and then we discuss with the patient. But time is not very far where patient will say, it's my privileged information, it should be shared with me, and you should be seeking my permission before you share with my family. For example, you are talking about the HIV status of a patient. So it is the patient who needs to know first. A lot of time you will hear from your patient, please don't share this with my parents, or don't share with my spouse. So again, there you need to take a call and we'll discuss about it. How do you handle that request, especially for the HIV cases? For cancer, it is different. For HIV, it is different. But yes, ensure privacy, seek permission. It's always a good idea to involve a social worker or a relative who you think has been a primary caretaker or a senior nurse who can help you handle the emotions of the patient. A glass of water or facial tissues around will help you to calm the patient and comfort the patient. So before you break the bad news, it's important to assess how much does the patient know? How ready is the patient to accept it? Now, before you tell anything, asking, what do you think it is? What do you think it looks like? What is your idea about your condition? A lot of time patient will tell you, I don't think there's anything serious. So you'll have to really see how ready they are to take the diagnosis, especially if they have no idea. For example, a patient has come to you for regular medical checkup, and suddenly you see a breast. Somebody who is just expecting a normal report and an annual checkup with no signs and symptoms of any serious condition, and now you have to break this news. So that means I really need to check how much does the patient know and how ready is the patient to take this. So if you can identify any kind of denial, wishful thinking or unrealistic expectation, you'll have to really stagger your news. A lot of time you will see complete denial. Ho hi nahi sakta. There is no possibility. You are mistaken. This is not my patient's report. That means they are in denial. So you can't argue on that, but you'll have to really, build on it and then have evidences to prove what you're saying. A lot of time you will see wishful thinking in your patients. Again, you need to handle it very smartly and not become aggressive on it. They may have unrealistic expectation. I think we have talked about it at length in our previous sessions. You must address these unrealistic expectations and not let unattended. Otherwise, you are getting into a problem. So you need to correct any misinformation they have. For example, they say, "Nee, he was fine when he came. There was nothing wrong with him." So that means you have your preliminary assessment report, which you show. So when the patient came in, he was not breathing. He was not able to breathe comfortably. He was literally gasping, and the BP was this much. The pulse rate was this much. You can see it is already recorded. So if you have all that information documented, you can correct this misunderstanding and explain, and then tailor the bad news in case if you think the patient might overreact or will not are not in that state of mind to accept it. While performing, please be sensitive but straightforward, because any well-intended effort to soften the blow can create weakness and confusion. Sometimes we try to minimize the severity. Let us see, let us hope, I think it will be fine, let us wait for the result. What you're doing is, and trust me, after you have said everything, the first question that the family is going to ask you, "Doctor Sahab, theek to ho jayenge na ye?" So that means you have not been able to explain the intensity of the situation. So you have to be very careful with your words and not kind of create confusion where you leave them, with the idea that yes, we can expect some miracle. While performing, please use simple language, as simple as possible, because any technical jargon that you use, and if it is not understood by them, you are losing on the message. They may not understand what you are saying. So you got to be very clear about what you're saying. In one of the programs for the gynecologist, one of the gynecologists shared, she said, I called the elderly father-in-law of the patient and I told, बच्चा जो है वो स्ट्रेस में है और हमें सिजेरियन करना पड़ेगा. This gentleman went out. He was from a rural background. He said, "पता नहीं डॉक्टर ने स्ट्रेस बोल रही है, स्ट्रेस fetal stress, पता नहीं स्ट्रेस बोल रही है, मुझे तो समझ नहीं आया." So we got to be very careful not to use any technical jargons when we are explaining. Then one thing that we do, that is we speak thinking that it's me who is supposed to deliver the news. Please avoid single steady monologue. Pause frequently. check for understanding, and ask for their feelings, their thoughts, how are they taking it. So in between, using silence and appropriate body language will facilitate the discussion and dialogue. And dialogue is always better than monologue, because you will get to know what is on their mind. Are they accepting? Are they finding it okay? Are they ready for the news? Or how are they feeling inside? So associated body language that will really help you to comfort is your tone of voice has to be one, firm, friendly, but clear, because that should not show doubt or incompetence, but it should not sound being authoritative. The body language again has to be caring, compassionate, connecting, and of course words have to be very thoughtfully chosen. So greeting softly, very important. Establishing eye contact. Why do you think we need to make adequate eye contact when we are having this discussion? Any idea? Dr. Anup, do you say? Why is it important to establish adequate eye contact?
That is like, that will help us to build confidence with the patient, so that.
Yes. When do we avoid eye contact, Pooja?
When we are not able to face the person, or we are lying, means we are not able to develop the trust in front of that person.
Or we are guilty of something wrong, or some error, or some error in care. So here establishing eye contact is very important to showcase that I'm confident of what I'm saying. Also, your care, compassion can be expressed non-verbally through your eyes. And also that you are not inconfident or guilty of anything. So adequate eye contact, very important. Posture plays a big role. We have discussed about this earlier also. Leaning forward, trying to connect, indicates that you are with them, you are listening attentively. Nodding whenever appropriate. So when they are talking, your facial expression should not indicate that I don't agree with you, or I'm not listening to you and you're talking weird. Rather showcasing that, yes, I'm understanding, I can hear you, I'm listening to you, I can understand your suffering. So that's what is going to help you in, again, building rapport and building confidence. As I said, tone of voice plays a very big role. So no authoritative, threatening, or intimidating tone of voice should be used when you are interacting with them. Allowing them to express is very important. I think this is one thing we have to take seriously. Let them speak, let them talk, ask them questions. They will come up with very pertinent questions and thoughts. Emotional reactions are bound to happen. Accepting them without being too reactive. So you don't have to react to every emotion that they say. Sometimes they may say, it's our bad luck, we came to you, we should have gone to the other doctor. So you don't have to take it personally and say, then why did you come to me? Did I ask you to come to me? You can just keep quiet and listen to that reaction. It has no meaning. It's just more like ventilating. Comforting the patient or family, maybe touching on the hand or on the shoulder, goes a long way. But then you have to be careful. If you have good rapport, that gesture will be really, really appreciated, but it can be counterproductive if you haven't been able to build rapport with them. Now, these are a couple of ways you can use to, start your conversation. Will you say, unfortunately, have some bad news to share with you? I'm really, I feel bad. I am, I'm sharing this with you, but the fact is that the report reveals. Or you can develop your own way of doing it, but then it's always a good idea to start the conversation like this. We are not in habit of doing something like this, if you ask me honestly. In Indian context, I haven't seen very many doctors using this as a preface before they divulge the information, but it communicates that you are with them in their suffering, and that helps in building rapport and confidence with them. Then the usual response of the patient is either they'll become quiet or just cry, or they may ask you, are you sure about the report? or they may even deny that this report could be wrong. It is not my patient's, it's not my report. They may even tell you, don't tell my husband, don't tell my wife, don't tell my family. So this is a usual response you will get to see. So in psychological terms, this response is called DABDA. DABDA. D stands for denial, where the patient or the family are in denial. It cannot happen. She is leading such a healthy lifestyle. It cannot happen to her. She is such a healthy person. She's very caring for self, so she cannot have it. So denial is a very common reaction. Anger, unhappiness, aggressive reaction, revengeful, blaming. That's usually the second one, where they want to blame you for what has happened. They are angry, they are unhappy. They are aggressive about what they could not do. They may blame you, they may blame self, that we brought the patient late. We did not do enough. We did not look after. Just yesterday, I was talking to one of the patient who developed depression and anxiety, and I was talking to her mother. So her mother started blaming herself for her daughter's plight. So she said, it's because of me, my daughter has become like this. So blaming is a very usual response you will see among people and their family members. Once they start realizing the reality, third stage will be bargaining. So where they will bargain to make things better. So they may say, doctor, sab kitna bhi paisa kharch ho jaye, please do whatever you can do. Can we take second opinion? Can we take him to another hospital? Can I take him there? So what they are trying to see, what best can be done to save the patient or make the condition better, which is perfectly a normal expectation of the patient and the family. Again, slowly when they get to realize the reality, for example, if it is stage 4, you would get to realize that nothing much can be done. So one would become depressed, quite sad, more or less kind of, processing the reality. And then finally it is acceptance, where the person starts accepting what is, the reality or the situation. Now, how do we handle this? Denial has to be handled with information. When you see denial, don't get angry and don't blame them, but provide them with the right information to let them know the situation. So showing the reports, showing the referral notes, showing the other reports will help you, validating your point of view. If they are angry or aggressive, there's no need to retaliate or act aggressive. Stay calm, listen to them, be supportive. Of course, if they're very aggressive, you got to look after your safety, but otherwise not every patient is aggressive or is ready to fight and become violent. But mostly staying calm, listening to them, being supportive helps to get their anger down. When they're in the bargaining stage, help them see the reality, where you would tell them that, this is the best that can be done. Or if you want, you can take the summary of the patient, take second opinion. And if you want to check if there's another treatment option available, you can go ahead. They may say, we want to try Ayurveda, we want to try all this. Don't get annoyed if you just help them see, I have no idea what Ayurveda. I cannot comment on it. If you want to go and take second opinion, feel free to do it. But I have not heard of any treatment modality that can 100% sure shot help you deal with it. So you're not getting angry, you're not unhappy, but you are empathic, but at the same time you are assertive. So when you see them depressed, quiet and sad, that is where you need to give them direction. You need to tell them now what needs to be done. So for example, if you need to refer the patient to another setup, then we need to say, or you need to take second opinion, or you want to do a second round of test. So you need to tell them that I understand, but then we need to take it forward from here and see what best can be done. And you are the one who will be giving them the direction. And then finally, when you see them accepting, encouraging them for accepting and, taking it head on is something that will help them, to move on and to see what can be done best. So here again, empathy plays a very big role. And those of you who have seen this something closely, you would really empathize with your patients and their family member. And you would not judge them for being aggressive or non-understanding or being foolish, but you would understand that this is part of how human mind processes serious conditions and, losses. So these are a couple of, you can say dialogues or statements that you can use to express empathy with the patient and their family. I can see how upsetting this is. I know you were not expecting this. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but then unfortunately, this is the reality. This is very difficult for me also to believe that something like this could happen with her, but then I really feel bad for her. And even I was not, hoping for something like this. So these are the ways where you again kind of communicate that you understand their plight. Talking about the clinician perspective, I think anybody, who will do it sensitively is definitely going to be personally affected by it, because that's how even we feel bad about when we are breaking up bad news. So we know clinicians would feel uncomfortable about patients' expectations, especially when patients have come with very high hope. Doctor, you are the best doctor in the town, so I'm sure you will give me the best treatment. So, and you can't do anything different from other doctors. Then you also fear that you're going to destroy the hope when you announce a diagnosis. So the patient might stop coming, patient might stop taking treatment, patient might go to another doctor. So that fear is always there. Then we also feel, inadequate in the face of uncontrollable disease, especially if the patient is in very serious condition, cancer stage 4, or, multi-organ failure, septicemia. So, the condition is very, very serious and you will not be able to do much. So, there's a feeling of inadequacy for people who really, really want to do something for their patient. Sometimes we are not even prepared to manage the anticipated emotional reaction. We do not know Dabda is a natural response to grief and loss. I think each one of us should know that this is nothing abnormal. Denial, anger, bargaining, all these are part of processing of information. This is how the human mind processes. So we should really be prepared to deal with these situations. And sometimes if we have painted a very optimistic picture for a situation and then the result is not as per our expectation, we feel embarrassed. So never in your assurance use words, I'm sure it will happen. I'm very confident everything will be fine. I'm there with you. You can say I'm there with you, but then let's see how things turn up. Let's see how patient responds to the treatment. Let's see how the disease, roars up. That would be a better way of providing support rather than giving a too optimistic picture. So please give always a realistic expectation and realistic picture to the patient. Accept your professional limitations. We are not gods, we are human beings. So whatever limited knowledge we have, we got to treat with that, and therefore never assume yourself as superhuman being or super dog. Learn to control emotional reaction, your own internal emotional reaction, and also when others give you an overwhelming response, how do you really handle it? That's something we really need to learn and practice. Keeping the family updated will really help you to at least have a feeler. How are they going to react to this situation? So you would know, like this family can overreact or this person can overreact. So keep them updated, address their concern so that they don't blame you for not sharing the information. And I think documenting all your communication is very important, just not to prove to the patient and the family that yes, enough has been done and it has been documented. But unfortunately, tomorrow, if you're entangled into any legal case, documenting these communications will definitely save you in the court of law. Once you break the bad news, the patients fear that you will leave them or abandon them. I think we really need to tell them that that's not the case. Establish a plan in case if you have to treat their current symptoms before you refer them. Please give that much of time. Treat the patient, settle the patient, discuss the next treatment plan. If you have to refer the patient, arrange for the appropriate referral. Reassure them that they are not going to be abandoned. They would be attended by you also in case if they want to come back to you for any follow-up. Give them the contact details of the person to whom you are referring. That will give them a feeling that, okay, we know the next person where we are going. Establish a time for follow-up in case if they want to come back to you for follow-up. And then involving people like family, friends, social worker, spiritual counselors is a huge support. I think this is something we really need to materialize, because a lot of time you will not have that much of time and energy to deal with the emotional issues. And if you have these people in place, they can really help you deal with this situation. So disease and death, how it affects anybody can only be realized once we have personally experienced. Those of you who have seen this closely would understand what I'm trying to say. So I don't mean that anybody should have it, but then that's what the reality is. So this is in a nutshell about the topic of breaking bad news. Any questions about the presentation? Or any comment or any feedback that you wish to give?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And sometimes the patients will be in the ICUs or emergency bed. So we have to explain the patient conditions to the attenders. So that time there will be a female attender or male attender. If you break some bad news, immediately they will lie down on the floor. They'll create a big problem and all. So how to handle situations?
So I always say in critical care areas, it's always a good idea to identify the primary caretakers. That's one thing you should have as a policy. Write down their name and phone number. Regular updating should be done for the primary caretakers on regular basis, maybe twice a day or thrice a day, or even when they come up to you, because you want them to be aware of the patient's condition. So regular updating of the primary caretaker should be done. Third thing is, breaking bad news should be done with the primary caretaker. So although this is off the record, I've seen hospitals holding the breaking of bad news till the actual primary caretaker has come back. They may inform that the condition is serious. We are doing CPR. And you can call your family members, but they'll break the bad news only when the actual primary caretaker has come in. Because breaking the bad news to, especially something like death, it should not be done to, like you said, to a patient's attendant, one single patient, or in the middle of night, or patient attendant is all alone. So I think we have to, remember that we have to keep these things in mind when we are going to break the news of death or anything like this. Yes, Dr. Anuradha.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question, Dr. Bala.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Anuradha.
Yes, ma'am. Many a times, ma'am, there is a bad news and the diagnosis have come, but before the senior doctor or doctor can actually break the news, the staff leaks it out, or they just go and tell them. In such a case, the patient and the family is all already mentally prepared to either attack or they've already concluded. And then when the doctor comes and confirms and breaks the bad news, and it's difficult to handle many times because they are already prepared by that happens.
So I think if anytime something like this happens, I think most important is to do CAPA, corrective action and preventive action. So when I say corrective action, like if the staff has done the breaking of, they have already leaked the information, then you must speak to the staff and tell them the consequences of this kind of action, how that can harm the whole unit as a whole, the other staff that is one thing. That means there's a breach of contract. That means somebody has either done it willfully to harm the milieu of the hospital. There's a possibility somebody can do it. That means there is not team coordination, that trust that we need to respect for each other. That's one thing. And then second thing is, if the treating doctor has built enough rapport, I think I emphasize on this more than anything else. If you have built rapport with your patient and their family member, and if they trust you, I think they would, even if they get to know, they will not be aggressive. They will not be aggressive. And if you have done your job well, if you're transparent, and if there's nothing that you have done fishy, then why will you be scared? You can handle even that situation in a very mature manner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question? So if there are no questions, we have two presentations. Dr. Bala, could you check with Dr. Pai what happened to him? If you can call him and find out, because he's supposed to be presenting today.
Yeah, I have messaged him, but he didn't reply.
Okay, so would you like to call him and check with him? Is it possible for you?
Yeah, I will call him.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Dr. Anuradha, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I wanted to use this time to make sure that all four presentations are done today, and then we are left with 3 more presentations for the last day. So I think you can start with the presentation, because we don't want to lose on time here.
Ma'am, I need Dr. Bala also.
Yeah, we can wait for a second. Yeah, Dr. Leah, any feedback on the presentation we had on the breaking bad news, or the discussion we had? Anything you want to say or ask?
Nothing as of now. I was listening throughout, even though I was traveling. If there is anything, I'll ask later. Nothing as of now. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll wait for Dr. Bala to give us his feedback about.
Ma'am, you can enable me.
I've already done that.
Okay, thank you.
I've done that, yeah.
He will do presentation next week, madam.
Sorry, please unmute.
Yeah, I just called that Rajesh Pai, madam.
I'm not able to hear you, sorry.
Is it audible, ma'am, now?
Yeah, it's slightly milder in volume, but it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just called Dr. Rajesh Pai, madam. So he is traveling, so he cannot able to present the topic today.
Okay, that's okay. Had he informed, then we could have asked somebody else to make the presentation. But it's okay. I think we can have Dr. Anuradha's presentation and then close the session today. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Anuradha, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, friends and Indu ma'am. I welcome you all today for my presentation, and I request you all to make it very interactive by taking part in it. Thank you. So my topic today is creating interesting activities around the topic. I'll share my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible?
No.
Now, ma'am?
Not yet.
Is it visible?
No, it's not visible.
You have enabled me, ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah, multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Now, ma'am?
No.
Just a minute, ma'am. I'll just take help of my husband.
Sure.
Please come. Ma'am, is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yes.
can see. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry for that. So my topic for today is creating interesting activities around the topic. And the activity I have chosen is role play. What is the aim or objective of choosing this activity? So I have chosen role play here as a pedagogy for training purpose, basically for human relations and communication between. So now let us have the role players. We have Pooja as sister and Dr. Bala as patient. And the scenario that is patient is reported to hospital in early morning for a procedure in morning, and now sister has come to take him for the procedure. So over to you, Pooja and Dr. Bala.
Good morning, Mr. Bala. Mr. Bala, good morning.
He's not there in the group. Has he lost his connection with us? Can somebody else play the role of the patient if you think it's all right?
Actually, ma'am, it's a planned role play, so we have prepared.
So would you like to check with him? Can you message him or
Yes,
call him
ma'am.
rather? Call him.
I'll call.
Yeah, you can mute your phone and call him. Yeah, there he is. Yes, Dr. Bala is there.
Yeah, some network issue, ma'am. I just joined it.
Oh, good that you resolved. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Bala.
Good morning, sister.
So Dr. Bala is a doctor or a patient?
I'm a patient, madam.
Okay.
Okay. So are you ready for the procedure?
Yeah, ready for procedure, sister.
Okay, sir. All medicine taken? Sir, have you taken all medicines?
Yes, all medicines taken.
Sir,
All
when you have
medicines
taken the medicine, morning medicine have you taken, sir?
morning, night, I have taken all BP tablets, madam.
Sir, I'm not talking about only BP medicine. Have you taken all medicines?
என்ன சொல்றேன்னு புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. Night BP medicines taken, madam.
Sir, morning medicines have you taken? Morning medicines.
புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. Morning.
Sir, why you are not answering to me?
Yeah, I've taken all medicines, whatever the doctor prescribed.
Sir, there is a procedure. So have you taken all morning medicines?
நான் சொல்றது புரிய மாட்டேங்குது உங்களுக்கு என்ன சொல்றதுன்னு தெரியல.
Sir, I'm not understanding what you are saying, sir.
I don't remember what medicines I have taken, but I have taken all the medicines what doctors prescribed yesterday.
Sir, I need to document it. I'm not getting what you are saying, sir. Have you taken all the medicines or not?
Yeah, I have taken all medicines, madam. Why are you repeating the same question? I have taken all medicines.
Thank you,
It's okay.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Bala and Pooja.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So here we have seen how the sister and patient is talking and what is happening. Now I'd like to ask the observers and other participants, what was the key point or the takeaway that you got from this role? Captain Sandhya. Anyone, please. Dr. Leah.
Yes, here the sister could have, when the sister noticed that the patient was repeating the same answer, the sister could have modified her question and asked him rather in detail. By morning medicines, what she meant, she could have asked him that. That is what I felt, that there is an issue there.
Dr. Anu, what is your
Yeah, here what I
takeaway?
see
What
is
is
that
happening? Yes.
yeah, the
yes,
sister was
please.
not able to connect with the patient. The patient was speaking in Tamil, and like he was not able to understand about the morning this thing, and so he was feeling a little confused, and he was repeating the same thing. And the sister, like what Dr. Leah has told, the sister was now trying to engage him and restructure the questions.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Anup. So
Yeah.
basically, the key point or the role play that was conducted with the fact that the key point that has to be taken away was that language is a barrier in communication, effective communication many a times. So that was the role play we took to take this key point. So thank you, Pooja, and thank you, Dr. Bala, for enacting
Thank
it.
you, ma'am.
So,
Thank you for a detailed documentation.
thank you so much. So we understand how a role play can show easily that there was a language barrier in this case. So how do we define it, role play? We define role play as a technique to animate the teaching atmosphere, leading to imprinted learning. Also, like acting out a part in order to understand it better. Like I hope you all will always remember how the same question is being repeated and he is answering, but it is not being conveyed to the sister. So it is an experience of a situation or a viewpoint. That is what the role play is. What are the advantages of doing this pedagogy? See, there is an active participation by all. The role players are playing and others are thinking what is happening. They are trying to understand it. So there is an active participation. It energizes and brings fun. It is a time efficient. It is a time efficient because many times verbally we are not able to make people understand what the actual thing is happening, or the verbal instructions are not easily conveyed. But when it is played, it is easily conveyed to the patient, to the people, participants. So it is time efficient. And here it also delivers complex concept in simple manner. So it is simply shown. See, this is what happens. You keep trying and you are not able to understand. It leads to imprinted learning. Always the visual perception gives imprinted learning. Opportunity to practice what has been taught. We have been taught role play today by ma'am also, as well as in past, before sessions also. And it has helped us to practice it. And now there will be a knowledge retention, how to play a part, the role play part. It helps in introspection also. I will connect with this role play and try to understand when this situation happens with me, how do I handle it? So it helps in retrospection. Now, what are the disadvantages? Very few participants could be uncomfortable. Like today, we found that Dr. Anup was not very comfortable in participation for a role play. And Too much fun can disrupt the task. If we keep enjoying the role play, the actual purpose of the role play is lost. In case of overacting, also the observers loses the objectives of the role play. And it is time consuming if participant is not clear of topic, because many times there is a spontaneous role play and there is a planned role. So today when we had a spontaneous role play, I wanted more time to think how will I present myself. So it becomes time consuming. It requires proper planning and practice, as explained by Dr. Indu, that the words are very important. So if you plan it and practice, we are able to convey the objective of the role play that we are doing. And it is limited to simple situations in small groups, because in big groups, there is a lot of disruptions can happen and the role play will not be understood. So what are the do's and don'ts? In do's, make it simple and fun. Today we had it simple and fun with hearing Dr. Bala's original language, Tamil, and should be time bound. Role play should be relevant to the topic. Then only it will convey the message. Participants should be comfortable and specific, clear instructions should be given to the role players. Don't make it long because then it loses the interest. Don't take complicated situation. It is difficult to play. Don't interfere when it is in progress because then the rhythm is lost. Don't target too many learning points. There should be just one point because otherwise it is difficult to understand. And don't make joke of participants because they are trying to do their best. Applications of this pedagogy is for behavioral demonstration. We can show how a sister behaves or a patient behaves. We can have many role plays. Behavior modification when we want to teach what is wrong and right. Mock trainings to show the drills, to create insight of the topic that we are doing. And there will be observational learning. So learning by observing is very, very important and role play plays a very important role in that. So this is my conclusion for the topic today, pedagogy. Anybody, any questions regarding it, please ask. We had the same topic today by ma'am, so I'm lucky to revise it next time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Anuradha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. Very good job, ma'am. So I hope all of you will be using role plays on regular basis in your programs. And trust me, that's the best way to engage your audience. Even that makes you comfortable because then you have less to talk and more to show. A lot of things that you have difficulty explaining in words, you are able to show through action. So it's an excellent way to teach or learn or show and create change among people and make people learn the right way of doing it. So thank you so much, Dr. Anuradha. It was an excellent presentation by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. Let me quickly share the feedback form, requesting you all to quickly give your feedback for the session on breaking bad news. The rest of the things we don't have to evaluate, but this one. Once you have done it, if you can write done in the chat box, it will help me know how many of you have already finished it.
Ma'am, would there be more assignments to be done after the final session, or are we going to get the certificate?
I would be asking you to prepare an outline for a 2-hour session for any set of clients that you wish to do it after you have done it. And because I can't now ask you to do the presentation, because then it would require another 10 sessions if we ask for a presentation. But if you submit me the outline, I'll share the format, what exactly I'm expecting in the, and after you submit your this thing, after that brief assessment, I'll be sending you the certificate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ma'am, don't forget to share those videos.
Yeah, it's under editing. It's under editing. I remember it very well. I remember it. Definitely. Rather because of your initiative, they will be edited faster, because now I know I'm accountable to send the link to you.
Yes.
I'll get them edited faster. Only thing is I'm in a different time zone. So my connection with my team becomes very short, because when I am sleeping, they are awake, and when they are awake, I'm in bed. So that's the problem. Yeah. So have all of you finished answering, or anybody left? Who is left? Please raise your hand. Yeah, I think all of you have answered. Yeah, I've received that. Thank you so much. I know it was a long session, and all of you seem very tired, but thank you once again to have, thought of spending this time with all of us in spite of being tired. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.